Hi everybody, Mark here, doing the 186K airbrush review as promised the other day. Straight off the bat then, so it's in a solid sort of ABS case with a nice clear plastic lid, and that sort of closes nice and tight, nice and shut, and you can see everything in there, all your bits and pieces. What I'm going to do is go through each little piece individually. I've got Gary on the camera giving me a little bit of a film. We're not professionals, we're not in a studio. I'm sat in my workshop this afternoon just to sort of go through what I've bought and what I think. So straight off the bat, we're going to take out this 186 airbrush. It's got a nice little BARTSHARP logo down the side. It's weighty, standard length for your airbrush. Let's just go through that then. So yeah, it is a little bit weighty, but it's okay. It feels pretty solid in the hand. Starting at the front, so you've got your crown at the front, and this is one of the unique selling points that BARTSHARP have introduced. I'm just going to take the crown off there nice and steady, and just to show you what sort of swayed me into making this purchase. So your normal nipple for your needle, you normally need a spanner, a tiny little spanner. You do get the spanner in the kit, but what BARTSHARP have done is they've introduced this larger size needle nipple. I'll just sort of put that there. Okay, so you don't need a spanner to take that off. It's got the O-ring there at the side, well, on the back, and instead of it being a fiddly little job to screw that on, if I just sort of turn my hand that way, it literally just sits in like that, and then that gets locked in then with your crown. Okay, a whole lot easier to handle. Just nip that up. Okay, so your trigger, trigger down. It's a dual action gravity fed airbrush, so down for air and back for paint, as you would expect. Feels pretty solid in my finger. Trigger's quite large as well. I've got big fingers, and that feels pretty comfortable there. You've got your cutout so that you can see the action moving about at the back. Your air hose attachment, nicely moulded on. There's no weld lines there. And your little front end for your paint flow. For your airflow, standard again on many airbrushes, and a lot of people don't actually use this facility. Some just don't even use it at all. What I use that for is when I'm giving tutorials to lads that come to me from the club, we talk about starting pushing down for air, and then literally just pulling back up round about just to there, just sort of like 1 minute past 12. And what I do is I tutor them just to use this, so that instead of coming all the way back for air, once you've got your glove on and you're down for air and you're back for paint, if you just tighten this little valve up there at the back, once you're down, it only lets your trigger come back a certain amount. And once you incorporate this piece with good trigger control, and you've got good paint flow as well, you've got a better control over how much paint and how much air is coming out. So that's your airbrush. You've got your little cap there. That's where your paint cups sit. I'll go through that in a minute. But yeah, overall looks pretty good. Moving on, I'm just going to pop that down there. You also get in the kit, if I can dig it out, you get your little spanner. You're all familiar with these. So that little spanner there, I'm just going to introduce my other airbrush, the one that I started with just over a year ago. So this is my Vida 180. Some people will be familiar with that. And again, once you take that crown off to give it a deep clean, you have to use this spanner just to sort of undo that. And that little needle nipple there, that's so tiny. It can get damaged, it can get lost very, very easily. I'm not a huge fan, and again, that's what prompted me to go for this 186 instead. popping that back in there and then pop my spanner back in. Further down the box, because it's the 186K, the K is the kit, so there's a 0.3 needle crown and nipple in there, and you also get a 0.5 crown and nipple set. And nice little touch here, you get a foam sort of padding there, and that just sits in so that it doesn't get lost. Further across in the kit, some people use them, some people don't. Quick release, and again it's 1/8 straight on. I've not used one as yet. I really don't know if I would or not. I might put it on because if you look, it just just comes into creases of your finger there, and it just gives it that little bit of sturdiness just as you're holding it. Okay, so that is your quick release, and it just pops off just like that. Okay, it's got all the O-rings on it so that there's no air bleed, and again just fits in there. Coming across a little bit more, we're on to a 0.8 nipple and crown set. The beauty of this kit, again, I'm not just going to mention price just yet. As I've said, there's a 0.3 needle in there, and that's your standard size, your 0.3s, 0.4s. And in this kit, you also get a 0.8 needle, and obviously that corresponds with your needle and nipple set in there. But also, you also get a 0.5 needle as well. So a 0.3 in the brush, a 5 and an 8 come separate. Ordinarily, needles for airbrushes can be quite expensive, depends on what you buy, but you get those in the kit. Okay, your next little piece is this little gadget. Now, before I bought this airbrush kit, I'd never seen one of these before, and it's right, okay, well, what's that all about? Some people will guess straight away, and you'd be absolutely right. It's a water trap. Now, your water trap, fantastic, sits straight on, look at that, screws on, finger tight, you don't need no spanners or anything, and it's got a tiny, I'm just going to do that for Gary just so that I can see that. Okay, and we've got a little push pin at the bottom, and what that does is that lets the moisture, you can bleed at the gun instead of having to go to your compressor every once in a while. I know that you do it or sometimes you forget, but you can actually do that on the gun. Okay, and again, as far as holding it now, if you just look at that, that's my phone. If you just look at that now, you've actually got an even better sort of surface to grip on. So, will I use it? I'm not 100% sure. It's in the kit, so chances are I will use it, to start with. If it feels uncomfortable, if I feel that it starts getting in the way, I'll just remove it and revert back to the water trap on my compressor. Reattaching the hose just so that it feels comfortable in my hand. So moving across your box, 3 cups in this kit. Your first one is a 2cc, and straight in 2cc. What are you going to use that for? Small work, obviously. Probably wouldn't use it with the 0.3 needle of that. I think for this size cup, I'd probably be tempted to use it to put demarcation lines on if I were doing camo patterns. And again, if you turn this in, back of your glove or onto your piece of paper, down for air, back for paint. Once you've got that nice flow of air and paint coming through, introduce your model. When you push down for air and pulling back for paint, it'll only come back as far as what you've allowed it to, just to there. Just 1 minute past 12 is what I call it, and you'd just be able to put your lines on, knowing that the same amount of paint is coming through each and every time. Okay, so that's your 2 cc cup. Moving on, 7cc cup. Now this one, it comes with a lid. I've watched videos in past where they've said that you can always tell the quality of manufacture actually by looking to see if there's any grooves in the bottom of that cup. You know, it's sort of like where the machine has ground it out, but if you look in there, absolutely smooth as silk. Good indicator for me. Positive little thread there on the end, okay, and inside there's your O-ring. So for this size, your 7cc, once you've used your 2cc for your lines, and when you want to start filling those areas in with paint, your 7cc, finger tight. You don't need to wrench it on, okay. Finger tight. There is an O-ring in the bottom of there, and obviously what's happening is when you're screwing that paint cup down, you're flattening that O-ring. Last thing you want to do is distort it. So finger tight is absolutely adequate. And again, it's not added too much weight, and even with sort of 4 or 5 cc's of paint in there, I don't think it'd be too heavy. It feels pretty good to me, but I am a big guy. It feels really, really nice. And then on to your last one. So this is your daddy cup. This is a 12. Look at this. This is a 12, and there's a nice little bit of detail there. And again, lovely chrome finish. Let's just check inside that colour cup. And is there any machine markings in there? Let's have a little look. No, absolutely flawless. Mirror shine, gorgeous. Looks lovely. I can't believe how much paint that's going to hold. I think that'd literally hold a full pot of Tamiya. I won't be far off. What on earth are you going to use that size colour cup for? Painting your fence? Well, you've got to remember that we don't all build 1 in 48s and 172s. There's guys out there that build warships that are a colossal scale, and also build dioramas, etc, etc. I think I would personally use this for primer. Get a really good amount of primer in there. Once you're sort of spraying your model, you're not going to run out. Super job. And then last thing that you get in the kit is your 1.8 meter braided hose. So you've got your two 1/8 fittings on the end, one for your airbrush, one for your compressor. But again, you get this little thing on the end. It looks like a quarter. Yeah, it is, and it's just screwing out nice. So that would actually fit straight into your compressor, because that's a different size. Now, because I'm running a dual T-bar off my compressor, I won't need that. Okay, so that is what's in the kit. Underneath, you get your instructions. So your airbrush or your specification, nozzle diameter, you can see it says 0.3. You get your 2, your 7 and your 12cc cup, etc, etc. The good thing about this, and especially with this BARTSHARP company, because everything is numbered, if for some inexplainable reason you happen to damage a seal or break a little part or lose a part, you can literally phone them up or email them, whatever, and just say, have you got a replacement part? I need a number 11, it's a spring. You'll know what's damaged. They'll send it out to you, absolutely no problem. So yeah, a good little addition. There's a little bit of foam there in the bottom of the ABS case that protects all your nice equipment inside. I'm just going to slot that back in, and my 2 needles back in as well. Got a little bit of an adapter there, and the 1.8 meter hose. So yeah, it's a standard sized dual action gravity fed chrome plated airbrush. Okay, so the unique selling point on this particular 186 is basically this front end. And again, just to show you again, so it all comes out. It's a lot bigger than your standard size. Just pop that down gently. I'm just going to put that down there just so that you can have a look at that. Okay, it's got the white nylock little end on there. Okay, and again, dead easy to fit. You're not messing about with spanners. It's literally straight in, push that in, and that locks in with your crown. Finger tight again. You don't need a wrench. You certainly don't need to be distorting the O-rings inside and flattening them off. Definitely not. Okay, so there you go. So, two-part video, as I said earlier on. That's part one basically done. I can disconnect that now. Part two is going to be popping a couple of colour cups on there, sticking some paint in, and just basically having a go. Okay, that's it.